Welcome back to The Truth is Viral. My name is Bob Powell, and thank you for watching this emergency broadcast. My friends, in just a couple of minutes, I'm going to be going on live with Pete Santilli, and we're going to be talking about the banning of Alex Jones by all the big tech giants, by Apple, by Spotify, YouTube, and Facebook. This is an assault on the First Amendment. It's worse than that. They have fired the first shots in an information war, and we are about to go into battle. You do not want to miss this show, because we are going to tell you some exciting things that we're going to do in order to fight and save lives and win souls for Jesus Christ in these very last days. They will not shut us up.
Places you don't talk about at parties. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Keep that frequency clear.
And now it's conspiracy. See, they've made that something that should not be even entertained for a minute. That powerful people might get together and have a plan. Doesn't happen. You're a kook. You're a conspiracy buff.
You're watching The Truth is Viral, the only news program on the internet trusted to deliver the truth since 2008. And now, here's your host, Mr. Bobby Powell.
I mean, if we make $1 trillion, okay, that's going to go into Bobby Powell's salary. At least he's worth at least $500 billion. So, and you'll find out why when you tune in to Bobby Powell Show, which is The Truth is Viral. Now, why am I mentioning Bobby Powell? Because, ladies and gentlemen, he's actually joining me not only right now. I have him on the screen right now. If you don't know who, look at him. He's my brother from another mother. I think we should do some 80s disco music. Turn some vinyl tonight together. We're going to be joined not only right now, but for the first time, we're teaming up. Let me tell you what's going on. A great show, The Truth is Viral, is broadcast now on Liberty One TV. It used to be on Friday nights at 9 o'clock. Now, that show is being broadcast Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday. Basically, I put his bald head to the grindstone and said, you need to expand upon this great thing you got going on Fridays. We had the slot open, and now he's broadcasting on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays between 7 and 8 p.m. Okay, 7 and 8 p.m. That's The Truth is Viral right here on Liberty One TV. Get the notifications. You can either we broadcast directly to his page on Guerrilla Media, on all of our network pages. Bobby Powell, welcome back, and then say hello to everybody, and then I'm going to make the announcement here as to what we're going to do.
All right. Hey, brother, how you doing? It is so nice to be with you, and I want to thank you, Pete, because you are instrumental in spreading the word. You got balls the size of boulders.
We have no choice.
For your next birthday, I think I'm going to buy you a wheelbarrow to carry those things around in. But yeah, you're right. We don't have a choice anymore. Okay, we've got to just bite the bullet and take what's coming. And some people aren't going to like it. Okay, we are in a war. Okay, it's starting with an information war, but it's eventually going to turn into something worse. I'm really afraid of that, because if we have to walk into battle against the dildo and bong brigade, they're going to lose, and I'm going to feel really bad about it. But do you remember watching The Patriot with Mel Gibson, when they've taken his eldest son and they're leading him down the road, and Mel Gibson takes his two younger sons and he instructs them, I want you to shoot the officers first and then work your way down. Yeah. Yes. Like him or not, in this fight, in independent media fight, Alex Jones is one of the generals. Okay, right. I personally don't like him. I'm not going to get into that right now, but I have to stand up for that man's First Amendment rights. Because if I don't stand up for him, like Neiman Moeller said in Germany before World War II, if I don't stand up for him, they're eventually going to come up and try to take me, and nobody's going to be left to stand up for me. So, and then that applies to you. That I'm talking to right now on the Liberty One network, everybody that's watching me. First they're going to come for Alex Jones, and they're going to come for Breitbart and Drudge and Hannity, and then Pete Santilli and me, and then you.
Yes. And And you are impacted by this. And we're going to, sir, this is going to be, first of all, 2 announcements that I'm going to make. I mentioned it earlier. Giovanni Baricelli, awesome. He's going to fit right in with the conversation that I need to have. He's probably one of the most knowledgeable on cultural Marxism. The conversation we just had was not only outstanding, but I'm going to do, and this is where it came from. Art Bell did one of the longest. He actually has the Guinness World's Record for the longest broadcast by any DJ. He broadcast for 5 days straight. Now, I'm sure he was filling in with music. He wasn't a talk show host. I want to hold a record. I don't care what the record is. What I want to do is I want to do a marathon. I want to do a broadcast and go all the way through, have special guests, have our hosts on, and I want to do a Marxism marathon. Okay? Marxism marathon, pro-Marxism, anti-Marxism. I want to invite some of these Marxists on, have somebody, let's say anarchists like Mike Bluehair, to come on and maybe give the perspective of what the left is doing. He's probably being pushed as a minion of advancing Marxism, and he does it in an anarchy suit. We need to have a conversation with people like that. This Marxism marathon is going to take place. I'll be announcing the date. You know what? We're going to announce the date probably tomorrow's show. Marxism marathon. It will be an epic. I will broadcast continuously until we get this done. We'll have lots of special guests. By the way, Roger Stone is coming on Friday. Okay? I'm going to have guests like that. From Roger Stone, we're going to talk about constitutional sheriffs. We'll have Sheriff Mack on. We will talk about what we need to do with lots of great guests, hosts, and telephone callers. In the overnight hours, you know what I'd like to be able to do? Take your telephone call, stay online, and just talk my way all the way through it. I'd love, if there's no Guinness World Record for the longest independent media radio talk show host broadcast, I'd like to just take that seat in honor of and in memory of Art Bell for doing that. We'll announce that date tomorrow. All right, now, tonight, guess what's going to happen? On Tuesday,
we're going to have some fun.
We are. We're going to have fun. Here's the deal. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, now I was going to be producing segments aside from our regular programming. I've got news segments that I need to do. How I do that and how I'm going to produce it is going to fit right in with our programming schedule. I'm joining Bobby Powell on Tuesdays and Thursdays without him having to worry about content. I will have the content. I'll kind of, if you don't mind, I'll anchor the Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then you can steamroll me out of the way if you want.
I'm happy to be your sidekick, bro.
Yeah. Let's work this thing together. Here's how we're going to approach it. Is we're going to do, because I have to do an evening broadcast, we need to keep up with the pace at which things are going, because I can't wait till tomorrow morning. The news cycle is so fast that this is going to work out great for the both of us to come on Tuesday nights and Thursday nights at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. We're going to broadcast live. We're going to go with our evening news updates. You and I are going to have a conversation. That happens starting tonight. Okay?
Outstanding.
Okay. Now, the truth is viral. Last night, there was a broadcast that was done on the heels of this censorship thing that's going on with Alex Jones. I just came off. It literally took me this long to serve this up to you, this question to you, or to throw the baton to you, Bobby. This thing is so freaking huge that Alex Jones is merely the front placard, the license plate on this vehicle that is headed for. This is such a big thing that this censorship against Alex Jones, just like you said, cutting off the head of the snake. We need to stop looking at Alex Jones and stop looking at independent media. And you need to recognize that you are a passenger in this car. We either take the steering wheel and we drive it down the right path, or you're headed off a freaking cliff. The passengers in the car are our listeners right now. Right?
Yeah, right? We are the frontline warriors here at IP. And we've got people that depend on us to bring them the truth.
Yes.
A couple of the things that I've done that nobody's ever seen is I've had the ACLU spokesman on my show. after Anwar al-Awlaki had been murdered by Barack Obama with his pen and phone. There was no congressional oversight or judicial review. There was no warrant for his arrest. He'd never been charged with a crime. But Obama decided he was going to order the CIA to kill 3 American citizens, Abdul Rahman Anwar al-Awlaki and Samir Khan and al-Awlaki's 16-year-old son, Abdul Rahman, who'd never done a thing to anybody. They did not get any due process. Even if he was the terrorist scumbag that Obama claimed he was, and I believe that he was, he, as an American citizen, had a right to a trial before the federal government can just wipe him off the face of the earth. Especially his little boy. That little kid had never done a thing to anybody. He was an innocent child, and Obama ordered his murder 2 weeks after his father was dead. So there can be no mistake about his intentions. It wasn't an accident. He ordered his murder. And Nate Wessler, the ACLU attorney who came on to The Truth is Viral and called Obama a tyrant, a lawless, child-murdering tyrant.
So if the government, in fact, had information that Anwar al-Awlaki was engaged in actual activity that was likely to lead to the deaths of U.S. citizens or others, or that he actually had engaged in that activity, then that should furnish the government with grounds to go to court, seek an indictment, charge him, and proceed to trial. And there are lots of examples in recent years and in the further past of successful prosecutions against people accused of terrorism. And really, without more information from the government, it's impossible to know what kind of evidence they had. If they had to go to court, they would have to produce evidence to the judge or the jury, prove their case, and then a verdict would be issued. Here, the government, the president, and those working for him seem to have taken on the duty of judge, jury, and executioner all by themselves.
Okay, now, folks, what I've got here is a copy of the Federalist Papers. This is a selection of writings by our founding fathers. And in Federalist Paper number 47, James Madison writes, "No political truth is certainly of greater intrinsic value, or is stamped with the authority of more enlightened patrons of liberty than that on which the objection is founded. The accumulation of all powers, legislative, executive, and judiciary, in the same hands, whether of one, a few, or many, and whether hereditary, self-appointed, or elective, may justly be pronounced the very definition of tyranny." That video should have gone viral, but it didn't. I mean, I can count maybe 10,000 views on the 3 or 4 different videos in which I featured that clip, but and then NATO. I'm an old school journalist, Pete. I'm probably one of the few independent media voices that actually has a background in mainstream media journalism, and with a degree in journalism and everything. So and so when I do my investigative reports, I like to go right to the source. And after Gaddafi had been killed, I called NATO. And I wanted to learn more about the airstrike that led to.
Where did that?
I wanted to learn more about the airstrike that forced Gaddafi's convoy off the road and made him hide in the ditch, and that's where he was torn apart. But here's the thing: for months prior to the intervention in Libya by Barack Obama and NATO, for months they were telling us that Muammar Gaddafi had chemical weapons, and that he was about to use them on "quote unquote" innocent protesters who were anything but. They were al-Qaeda terrorists, but that's beside the point. But in my interview with that NATO official, I called and asked him, what was going on in NATO and tell me about Gaddafi's death. He inadvertently let slip that NATO knew that Gaddafi had no WMDs.
Part of the issue with Gaddafi was he was very demonstrably drawing down his old WMD capability. Now that the raw materials were there, and those needed to be secured, but there was nothing weaponized because they'd very deliberately stopped that program and were kind of in the process of disposing of it all.
They had been actually helping him dispose of them since 2003. Mm-hmm. So Barack Obama took this country to war based on an utter lie. Gaddafi had no WMDs. He wasn't a threat to us. He had actually been an active partner in the war on terror since 2001. He had tons of Al-Qaeda terrorists inside his jails. And those were, that was a fatal mistake he made by releasing him, trying to do that truth and reconciliation crap that went on in South Africa, because they just turned right against him, and with the help from the CIA and the Gulf Cooperation Council, they killed him. And that war is still going on. It ended for us when a United States ambassador and 3 of our bravest operators died. Yes. And nobody's been held accountable to this. Mm-mm. These people, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, need to be imprisoned.
They do.
For that alone.
You don't have to come and confess. We're looking for you. We gon' find you. We gon' find you. So you can run and tell that. Run and tell that. Run and tell that. Homeboy, homeboy. You don't have to come and confess. We're looking for you. We gon' find you. We gon' find you. So you can run and tell that. Run and tell that. Run and tell that. Homeboy, homeboy.
There should be no individual too powerful to jail.
What difference at this point does it make?
They used the power of the United States. They used our blood, wealth, and treasure to attack a sovereign nation based on a lie. Because what they wanted to do was install a Muslim Brotherhood government that they could control, just like they had tried to do in Tunisia and in Egypt.
Yes. And now go with me on this. Go with me on this. All this truth that you're giving right now. By the way, that little beep right there was my little reminder to let me know. I'm not going to pause for a commercial break other than to say you're going to find all of our archives, all of our archives safely archived. If you go to petersantillitv.com, well, everything will be on real.video. I'm going to tell you, that is my happy home for that. That's my only quote-unquote commercial message that you guys need to know. But, Bobby, let me tell you something. These YouTube channels being broken down. Alex Jones. I'm going to use mine as an example. Mine was taken down. The government, the U.S. government could not handle, and I'm going to call it for what it is. This is a fact. I'm going to give you a fact right now. I have recordings secretly taken in the Ukraine, referring to mercenaries firing at both sides to cause the conflict that took place on the Maidan in Kiev. I had those recordings placed where mercenaries were identified for shooting at both sides, that there was a false flag attack, that John McCain was out there promoting one side of the equation, anti-Putin, fake. He was delivering, by the way, not only doing that at that time, he was delivering arms to Al-Qaeda in Syria, okay, on one side of his gerbil cheek, and on the other side of his freaking treasonous, broke freaking Vietnam songbird arm, okay, he was handing out war trinkets to the people in the Ukraine and also wanting to get them hooked on IMF debt slavery, okay? And he's on the stage there. I had these recordings on our YouTube channel. Well, guess what? That went out, maybe a couple 100,000 people saw it, 200,000-300,000 people, not in the millions. Millions of people needed to know what was being done in the Ukraine. I had that. I have a fact, okay, that there was a fake, this is the truth, a fake scenario where a reporter was supposedly shot live on TV with a guy's GoPro. He was pulled his gun out. It was a fake scenario. How do I know it was fake? Because on the ground in that recording, while she was running and supposedly bloody fell down, and it was such a crisis thing, and we need to take every armed citizen's gun away because we never want that fake scenario to take place. We found out in the overhead shot when Joe Biggs was on the ground, there was a drone shot that showed that the decking was completely different than the decking she fell onto and supposedly bled. And then we found out that on her Facebook page, she's a crisis actor who worked for the government, her and the cameraman. She just so happened to be coincidentally a crisis actor. That's on my YouTube page. The government didn't want you to see that. Why? Because that whole freaking thing was fake. And they don't want you to see that. They don't want you to know about Hillary Clinton getting $140 million from Uranium One and me talking about that on January 26th at 10 a.m. That's why they put me in handcuffs at 7 p.m. That's why they did. They took down our YouTube channel. They didn't want you to know that. They didn't want you to see that. They brought a conspiracy charge. They said Pete Santilli spoke loud. He said some inflammatory things like gun. He wore camouflage. And we stuck him in jail for 619 days, hoping he'd learn his lesson. Yeah, I learned my lesson, that you guys are a bunch of effing pukes.
They're raw.
We're going to kick your ass with the truth. You took Alex Jones's channel down. Not only did you remove some truth, you also violated our right to freely assemble on his channel. You also took away our right to freely speak and engage in conversation with him. We didn't even invite you, Marxists, to the freaking party. We don't go by your community standards button. Get off my freaking channel. Get out of my face. I have no community standards button on real.video. You either tune into my show, take truth, shove it into your face, or get the fuck out of my face. Get out. Get away from me. And you want to take the full force of the government to try to silence me because I just screamed? Really? You're about to figure out who runs this place. It's we the people, we Christian patriots, who with absolute determination will steamroll. You think taking out Alex, you just awakened a huge giant. I will lay my fortune, which I have. I will lay my life, which I have. I will lay everything on the line to defend these principles that you're going after with Alex Jones, that he's merely the front license plate on the freaking Patriot bus, okay? And you're not taking it off a cliff. We're actually going to throw that thing. We're going to put a new engine in it. It's going to have nitrous oxide with freaking slick tires on the back, and we're going full speed ahead, okay, down the freaking racetrack. You won't be able to stop us from here on out. We're going to defend these principles. You're not going out after Alex Jones. You're not going to be able to shut down the Pete Santilli show. And one thing I'm going to put on the screen right now, here, and Bobby, I'm going to throw back to you. There are 5 freedoms protected by the First Amendment. Number 1, speech. People have a right to speak freely, and I will, so help me God. We have a right to be Christian patriots, our religion, okay? And I will say that church and state, just like I said earlier, keeps the government out of telling me whether or not I can be a Christian patriot. And I even want to pray in the freaking schools. And I want to get everybody to vote for such a thing. And the government needs to stay out of the way in that regard, that if a local community wants to have their children pray in their schools, the government will stay out of that. Get out of our face. If we want to run our communities, if we want to have a state that says we're going to pray in our schools, the government of that state should stay out of it. That if we want to vote for that and we the people want prayer in our schools, we'll bring it. Get out of our face, you Marxist, godless pukes. We have a freedom. We have a freedom to assemble, and that includes on the internet. You F with that, and we will crush you. We will crush you. We have a right to freely assemble on the InfoWars show. We have a right to freely assemble on the Pete Santilli show. You want to mess with that, you're messing with my constitutional rights. And that's not extremism. That's literally protected in the First Amendment. If you say you're going to be protective of the First Amendment, we also have a right to petition our government. I'm petitioning, even through my Bundy Ranch cases in Oregon and Nevada, that people have a right to appeal to our government in favor of or against policies that affect us and all Americans, especially me. If you throw me in the can for 619 days and tell me, you better keep your mouth shut or the government's going to retaliate against you. Bobby, I'm going to throw back to you. We have a freedom of the press as well, okay? And the press, you as a professional, if for me speaking out, okay, petitioning my government, speaking freely, and exercising my rights as a recovering Roman Catholic, if I speak out and say that Stephen Myrie needs to go to freaking jail and I don't want him in my courtroom and I'm expressing my opinion about that, because I'm not a legal expert. I don't even know what it's going to take to get him out of the courtroom. I leave that to the legal experts. But, sir, if they retaliate against me and say, oh, Pete, until you spoke out, we're going to stick you in jail for 10 years. will you do me a big favor? Okay? Don't send me any commissary money. Okay? Don't send me any constitutions. Tell the truth to everybody that what I spoke out about is the reason why they had to put the full force of the government against me. Will you please do that? Just tell the truth, that I'm speaking the truth. I'm honorable. I'm lawful. I'm constitutional. I just want everybody to do what's right, including Facebook, YouTube, and all you disgusting freaking Marxists.
As long as we're talking about Stephen Myrie, I'd like to remind everybody what a piece of garbage he is.
He's
a criminal, and all we expect from our government is that our government officials act with some sense of honor and be held accountable if they should commit a crime. Just yesterday, the Department of Justice released the Department of Justice, OIG, released a statement that a FBI agent had been having sex with an informant, had been taking monetary compensation from that informant, and had hidden that informant's status with the FBI, or actually he had said that this informant was a federal informant to a local law enforcement agency who was investigating that person, and he tried to keep that person out of trouble using his authority as an FBI agent. And they detailed numerous crimes, and down at the bottom it says the Department of Justice declines to prosecute. Okay, now
let me rephrase that. That's Mr. Magoo, Jeff Sessions, refused to prosecute because Steve Marsh doing a good job.
Yeah, well, he did such a good job that in the case U.S. v. Chapman, the United States Court of Appeals in the Ninth Circuit found that Myrie's actions amounted to, I'm going to read this here, prosecutorial misconduct in its highest form, conduct in flagrant disregard of the United States Constitution, and conduct which should be deterred by the strongest sanction possible.
Yes.
Nothing ever happened to him for that. Because, and then he was allowed to do the same thing with the Bundys. And Judge Gloria Navarro cited, again, flagrant prosecutorial misconduct by Stephen Myrie as the reason that the Bundy case was dismissed. She noted that Myrie made several misleading statements to the defendants in the court. The government showed, or conduct in this case was indeed outrageous. That's coming from the judge, from Gloria Navarro. She said that the prosecution showed a reckless disregard for the constitutional obligation to seek and provide evidence, that Mr. Myrie engaged in deliberate attempts to mislead and distort the truth, and that the court finds that the universal sense of justice has been violated. Why does that man still have a job?
That's exactly right. Stay right there, because we're going to finish the show. I say stay right there, because I'm going to, here are my parting words. You're going to tune in tonight, okay, for the live broadcast. We're going to continue this discussion. At the earliest possible moment, ladies and gentlemen, I will announce the Marxism Marathon, okay? I will broadcast until I'm done broadcasting, okay? I will go day and night. I will involve you in the conversation as you, the people. We will bring millions of people to this broadcast if we have to. If not, we're still going to have the conversation, and you're not going to shut us down. We'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to tune in. I'm Peter T. Santilli and Bobby Powell, over and out. Hoorah, what do you say?
Hoorah!
Since 2011.
Okay, folks, thank you for watching The Truth is Viral, this short little thing. Make sure to join us live tonight on the Liberty One Network, and Pete and I are just going to take it to them. If you have the ability, please go to bobpowell.blogspot.com, hit that PayPal button, and join our fight to save lives and win souls for Jesus Christ in these very last days. God bless, Semper Fi, and hoorah! Let's go to war!
Thank you for watching The Truth is Viral with your host, Bobby Powell. Make sure to follow The Apocalypse on Twitter at The Truth is Viral. Like The Truth is Viral on Facebook, and if you can, please remember to donate to the cause via PayPal at www.bobpowell.blogspot.com.